welcome to Alicante. This is sort of an unplanned stop for us on the tour. We were just in Granada and we are on our way to Valencia. And it's a pretty long drive, so our tour guide said let's stop here, we could get some lunch, and it's obviously, as you can see, on the Mediterranean. So it's beautiful, it's a little cool. I mean, I'm not quite sure I'd want to be in a bathing suit right on this beach. It's so interesting, the weather has gone from like boiling hot in some places like Seville was 100, and we're going to Barcelona, which is obviously in the north, so it should be a little cooler, and where it's going to be like the high of 75, which sounds amazing. So anyway, I'm sorry that I haven't talked to you much on this vlog. The problem is that on a tour, I can't really like narrate because they're narrating and they're narrating in my ear. So you will see with some of the footage, you might be able to hear some of the guide, and hopefully you will. I don't know. I'll listen to it back, you know, when I'm editing. But anyway, I just thought I would check in here. Like I said, we're not really doing anything here except my mom and I just finished eating a little lunch. To be honest, my stomach is been a little queasy today. So I pretty much didn't eat anything just because, like I said, my stomach's not doing great. But anyway, and no, this is her bag. I've got my away bag on. Anyway, she's waiting for the bathroom, and then we're gonna make our way back to the bus. We have to be on the bus no later than 3 o'clock so that we can leave and go to Valencia. And we're in Valencia for one day, and then, so basically tomorrow, we arrive at Valencia today, we spend the night in Valencia, and then tomorrow we leave for Barcelona. And then we have Sunday, which is tomorrow, and all day Monday, and pretty much Monday is completely free except for like a farewell dinner. So that is my shopping day. So stand by, people. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I had something interesting happen while I was on the trip that freed up a little extra money. So yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens, but my mom is coming back, so I will say goodbye, adios, and I will see you probably not till Barcelona. So after we had lunch and enjoyed the beachfront at Alicante, we got back on the bus and made our way towards Valencia. Now, I will be completely honest. I mean, I guess I've heard of Valencia, but I didn't know anything about it. Although, again, to be very honest, I didn't do a whole lot of research about Spain in general before we went. But, you know, clearly I had heard of Madrid, and I'd been to Barcelona for a couple days many, many years ago. Like I said, we're stopping in Valencia, and had no idea what to expect. I had zero expectations, and spoiler alert, I loved Valencia. It was amazing. So as we get into some photo here's, I'm gonna read some information so you can get an idea of kind of what we saw and what we looked at. So right when we arrived, we picked up our guide and they took us to an area called the City of Arts and Sciences, or in Spanish, Ciudad de las Artes y las Ciencias. And it is just in my mind, obviously everybody has different architectural, you know, likes and dislikes, but in my mind, a truly amazing architectural area. It is very, very modern. The buildings are just this incredible, unique mix of, like I said, very modern and organic shapes. And anyway, I'll go into each building and give you a little bit of a background. So the idea for the City of Arts and Sciences was conceived by the Valencian government to transform this old riverbed of the Turia River into a cultural and architectural hub. So the way it was explained is that there was a river that went through this area, but it was moved essentially, and I apologize, I can't remember the reason why it was relocated, but it was relocated so it left this whole sort of open area. And so now it's this giant walking area and it goes for miles and miles. And so basically on one end of it is this City of Arts and Sciences. And in 1989, the project was officially approved and they employed Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava to design all of the buildings and sort of the surrounding area. Now, little fun fact, Calatrava actually designed a bridge in Milwaukee that is attached to the art museum there. And for those of you who don't know, I lived in Milwaukee, like that's where my mom lived for years and years and years. I just think that's an interesting fact that Calatrava also designed this bridge. He has a very distinctive style, as you will see, as it relates to architecture. And like I said, a lot of sort of organic shapes and yeah, just very, very interesting. So in 1991, the construction began. The first building that you're seeing here is the Hemispheric, which is an IMAX cinema and a planetarium. So what's interesting about this building, and hopefully you can gather this from the couple of photos that I have of it, is that it is designed to look like an eye. And I guess it is supposed to be sort of the eye of wisdom, but I just thought that was so incredibly unique. The next building that you're seeing here is the Science Museum. It's called the Museo de las Ciencias Príncipe Felipe, and that was opened in 2000, I believe. So hopefully you can see here that this museum was designed to look like the skeleton of a whale. Again, just Calatrava has just some incredibly unique designs. I just think it's so cool. I believe it has 3 floors in it, and what is also a little bit unique about it is that the biggest part of the museum on the ground floor is actually a basketball court that's sponsored by one of the local basketball teams and some other corporations. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of an interesting fact about the Science Museum. The next area that opened in 2002 is the L'Umbracle, and that is actually this area where they tried to get a lot of indigenous plants to grow. It didn't quite become, I think, what they originally envisioned. As you can see from the photo here, you can still see a lot of the structure, and my understanding was that they anticipated or they wanted those trees and vegetation to grow and sort of cover those, you know, that sort of skeleton or that structure that's around it, so it would be shaded, and that, you know, you could, as you go under there. Now, what's also interesting is that is what sort of camouflages this structure, the parking garage, which is underneath, because apparently he really didn't want those kind of like functional things to be known and seen. So it was sort of hidden within, like I said, underneath this structure. The Oceanographic, or aquarium, was opened in 2003, and it is actually the largest aquarium in all of Europe. And so you can obviously see the building here. Very interesting. It almost, to me, sort of mimics a little bit of the facade of the Sydney Opera House. And what's interesting is that we're going to come to the Opera House that was built as a part of this whole complex, but yet it doesn't look like the Sydney Opera House, which again, I just think is interesting. But to me, those kind of, I don't know, the way those things are, and I realize that there are more of them on this building than on the Sydney Opera House, but yeah, I don't know, just thought it was interesting. And then here you can see a picture of the Opera House. So as I stated, this is one of the 6 kind of main parts of this complex. And so this is the 5th of 6. The 6th piece is called the Agora. And it was really interesting when we were there because this is sort of an outdoor amphitheater and where they hold like a lot of concerts and things. And while we were there was like this 90s concert. I think there were a lot of like cover bands and things, or maybe they were some of the actual bands. I don't really know. But so all these people were walking around that, you know, on their way to go into the concert. in these 90s t-shirts, and we saw like a ton of like AC/DC, and it was really, really interesting to see sort of people dressing up for the concert. And then later that night, because our hotel was very close by, it was the championship game for the Premier League, and so it was Real Madrid versus some UK team, and I'm sure, please, all of my UK viewers, put that in the chat below, in the discussion below, because I don't remember. But anyway, that game was on that night, and so from our hotel you could hear people out in that area like screaming every time Real Madrid scored a goal. Now obviously we were in Valencia, which isn't part of Madrid, but obviously Madrid is a Spain team, so you know they're supporting their fellow Spaniards, or Spanish team, I should say, because Real Madrid is made up of other players not necessarily from Spain. But anyway, it was just funny because, like I said, you could just hear, I mean, there would just be this eruption of, you know, screaming and yelling and clapping. And anyway, it was kind of a fun little experience that night. So yeah, so that is this whole Ciudad de las Artes y las Ciencias, or the City of Arts and Sciences, mostly, as I said, designed by Calatrava. And yeah, it was just, like I said, such a unique part of the city. And then, as you'll see as we transition, we're going to move into more of the older part of the city, which again, just was beautiful and fascinating. Done at the City of Arts and Sciences, we got back on the buses, and our tour guide took us into, like I said, sort of the main area, the old part of the city. And when we first started walking, we came to an area called Plaza del Ayuntamiento, which means town hall. And so a couple of things are, I guess, you know, sort of the most well-known in this square. And like I said, you're obviously seeing some pictures here, but it is a walking plaza. So, you know, there's just lots of people milling around and just enjoying the weather and lots of different things. But the architecture is mostly from the earliest 20th century, which I thought was really interesting because a lot of the buildings to me look much older than early 20th century, but apparently that's when most of them were designed. And it is anchored mostly by the town hall, or the ayuntamiento, did I say that right? Ayuntamiento, as well as the post office. So you're seeing here some pictures, like I said, of town hall. And then we went and as we were walking to go into this Plaza de la Virgen, before we got there, we came to what is known as the narrowest house in Spain. Frankly, it could probably be the narrowest house in all of Europe, or maybe the world, I don't know. But as you can see here, so hopefully you can see, like, look closely in the picture, but there are, like, you know, two very distinctive different buildings, and then in between them is what was a house. My understanding is now it is just a facade, or at least that's what I gathered from some of the research I did before this video, because I can't remember honestly what the guide said. But it is 107 centimeters, which is the equivalent roughly of 42 inches wide. So think about that, you know, in your own measuring system, whether you're in the metric or the imperial. But yeah, for me, 42 inches. So that's like 3.5 feet. That is so narrow. Like, and I'm not even sure that I could put both of my arms out and have room. I'm not, like I said, I'm not even sure I could extend both of my arms in a 42 inch space. I haven't measured my wingspan, but I'm thinking it's got to be more than 42 inches, right? So then, like I mentioned, we made our way into the Plaza de la Virgen, or, Plaza of the Virgin. And in this area is their cathedral, which is the Cathedral of St. Mary's. Now, what is interesting, and you'll see some pictures here, is that once again, they were preparing for their celebration of Corpus Christi. We were in Valencia on Saturday, and I believe sort of the official day to have celebrated Corpus Christi was on the Thursday, but apparently Valencia always celebrates it on a Sunday. So they were preparing, and you'll see, oh gosh, and I'm going to forget. One of you told me what it's called, the thing that they carry. I apologize. But they're getting all of that ready. And then finally, there's a picture here of the Serranos Towers. Now, in the original Old City, there were 12 towers, the Serranos Towers being obviously one of the 12. But this is basically the only set of towers, this was a gate into the city. There were 12 gates. And this was the only one that was left standing after the city basically ordered all of the city wall to be demolished in 1865. So there were a few other little parts, I think, of the wall and some architecturally important parts that were saved, but the Serranos Towers is one that they saved, and it is well maintained, etc. So after our walking tour, we then all went to where we were going to be having dinner that night to have the traditional food paella. And there were choices. There was either a seafood paella, or no, maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't seafood. It was chicken. There was a choice of chicken or vegetarian, because obviously we had some vegetarians who were on the trip. My mom and I ordered the chicken version. Not gonna lie again, guys, I wasn't a huge fan. Now, I had never had paella before. My mom has had it before when she's been in Spain previously. And according to her, I think that it was kind of overcooked. The rice was like really crispy, which again, according to her, she could also be wrong. She's not Spanish, she's not from Spain, she doesn't eat a whole lot of paella, she's not like a paella expert, but in her mind, it just seemed like it was overcooked and the rice isn't supposed to be crispy. Again, for those of you who really enjoy paella and have made it or whatever, let me know in the comments. Is it supposed to be crispy? Is the rice supposed to be crispy? Anyway, so I did try to eat a little bit of the chicken. Again, to be very honest, because the chicken was like on bones, it also, to me, was a little bit overcooked. So again, not my favorite meal, but it was nice. We got to sit outside, which was really, really nice. And I mean, just to see how it was cooked in this giant pan of paella, I just, that part was interesting. So, it was a fun evening. Like I said, we got to enjoy everybody's company. And so that was the evening in Valencia. Like I said, then we went back to our hotel. I did watch part of the Premier League championship game, and Real Madrid, in case you didn't know, did win the match. And like I said, it was just fun to hear the people yelling from that amphitheater that was right adjacent to our hotel. So that is it for Alicante and Valencia. Hope you enjoyed it. I am going to take a bit of a break from the Spain vlogs because I do have quite a bit of other content that I need to get out, that I generally get out like at the beginning of each month. So my monthly check-in for my No Buy Low Buy year, my monthly favorites, your monthly favorites, and then we're also getting into Nordstrom anniversary sale time, guys. I know, I can't believe it, right? So yeah, so that is gonna be some content that I'm gonna be doing kind of in the middle. So we're gonna save the Barcelona and shopping vlog and then the what I bought in Spain reveal probably until after a little bit of that content. So I'm guessing we'll probably pick this back up kind of mid-July, sometime in there. So hopefully that's okay with you, but you know, maybe it'll give you a little break from the whole Spain thing and you'll be excited to come back and see the last stop, which was Barcelona, and then of course, see what I bought. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. Have you been to Spain? What are your favorite parts? Have you been to Valencia? I should have told you, we loved, like I said, we loved Valencia, and I would 100% go back to Valencia and spend a lot more time there. I felt like there was nowhere near enough time. Just there's so many like narrow, fun, cute little streets to meander down and shops and lots of other areas to explore. I just felt like there was no way you can really experience Valencia in what is essentially a, you know, 7-hour window. So would love to go back if I go back to Spain and really spend some time in Valencia as well as Barcelona, but we'll get to that. So anyway, that was a total aside. Like I said, let me know in the comments below. Have you been to either Alicante or Valencia? I would love to know. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, give the video a thumbs up. It does help the algorithm. And if you enjoy travel vlogs as well as content about luxury and beautiful things, I would love to see you back here. So click the subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you know when I upload videos. If you have not had enough of me yet, there'll be another video over here in the corner for you to click on and watch. And wherever you are, I hope you are having an amazing day or evening, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.